Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. We are live with the latest across the Northwest.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Coming up on the programme this evening.
Hi, lovely to see you. Oh.
A moment of genuine affection. On a visit to Liverpool, the former Prime Minister Theresa May says lessons still haven't been learned by public bodies like the government and police after the cover-up over Hillsborough.
Often when something goes wrong, when a mistake's been made, they actually sort of close up and defend themselves rather than searching for the truth.
That interview with our correspondent Andy Bonner is a television news exclusive. Theresa May says one government minister actually hid in a cupboard rather than meet Hillsborough campaigners.
Also on the programme tonight. Moves to ban vaping in certain parts of Salford to tackle the number of children getting hooked on the habit.
Happy 25th birthday to the Trafford Centre, but is the region's biggest shopping mall under threat from online?
Maybe at times not being the best husband, really. Being caught up in different allegations.
Pulling no punches, Bolton's boxing legend Amir Khan opens up to our man Chris Hall as his hard-hitting life story hits the shelves.
And it was a misty but promising start to the day today. Rain due tonight though. The forecast is coming up.
So please do stay with us. But first tonight, the former Prime Minister Theresa May has told this programme that important lessons still haven't been learned by public bodies like the police and even the government since the Hillsborough disaster.
Speaking exclusively to Granada Reports, Mrs May says that there was still a natural instinct for officials to, in her words, close up and defend themselves rather than search for the truth.
She revealed that as Home Secretary in 2010, she had to persuade the coalition government to allow the Hillsborough Independent Panel to continue its work.
She said one Secretary of State even hid in a cupboard rather than meet the Hillsborough families. Mrs May chose the Labour heartland of Liverpool to launch her new book. It's called The Abuse of Power.
And it was at Liverpool's Anfield Stadium that she gave her only television news interview to our Merseyside correspondent, Andy Bonner.
Theresa May, welcome to Liverpool. Just tell me your reasons for, why you wanted to come to Liverpool today in particular.
I wanted to come to Liverpool because one of the key issues that I dealt with, that if you like, ignited the spark inside me that saw this issue of abuse of power and was able to draw this thread through various things that I dealt with as Home Secretary and PM, was Hillsborough.
But did you, during your time as Home Secretary, as Prime Minister, did you come to Merseyside and meet the families here?
I did meet the families, actually down in London rather than up in Merseyside. But yes, but it was that sense that here were people who for so long had been struggling to get the authorities to listen to them. When you look back, actually, that shouldn't have been the case. And it was only, obviously, when the independent panel was set up in early 2010, under a Labour government, of course, a few months earlier, and then I had to decide whether to continue with it, that we were able to get a group working who then actually revealed to the world what had happened.
Sure. There were arguably more pivotal moments, though, I suppose, in the journey to the truth. Is there a risk that by writing about this subject in your book that you could be accused of seeking credit for what happened with Hillsborough?
No, the credit actually goes to Margaret Aspinall and all those who campaigned over those years to get to the truth.
You've spoken about that moment where you had to decide whether the Hillsborough Independent Panel would continue its work or not. I'm presuming not everybody was as keen for this to continue as you were.
No, there was a reaction that this happened a long time ago. Why try, going over it again? There was, I'm told, but this is sort of third, fourth hand, there was one Secretary of State who hid in a cupboard rather than meet the families.
Who was that?
No, I don't reveal it in the book, and I don't intend to reveal it to you today. I didn't actually confront anybody about it, but their departments will not have wanted to rake over the past. possibly a defensive mechanism again. Maybe we made mistakes in not properly addressing the results of some of the previous reports that had come out. So that whole push would have been, just stonewall, don't do this.
Let's talk about Margaret Aspinall. What was it about her that struck you?
What I saw was just that intense dedication and commitment and absolute belief that it was not the fault of the fans.
Hi, lovely to see you. Oh, we owe her a debt of gratitude. I know Teresa's not the only one that we owe the debt of gratitude. There's Andy Byrne, Maria Eagle, Steve Rotherham, Derek Twigg. I've met a few Prime Ministers and a few Home Secretaries. I felt for the first time she's the one who listened.
It's all down to you actually being out there saying, no, we're going to get at the truth however long it takes. And I'm only sorry it took so long.
Without Teresa, we'd have never, ever have got the correct verdict. This is not about party politics. It doesn't come into it when you're fighting for truth and justice.
And here was a woman who, as others had suffered huge personal tragedy through the loss of her son, and yet was taking up that campaign on behalf of the families of all those who lost their lives.
Do you see that there has been any change? Have things got better or worse?
I fear, sadly, that we haven't seen things getting better. Institutions, be it the police, government departments and others, often when something goes wrong, when a mistake's been made, they actually sort of close up and defend themselves rather than searching for the truth. And I'm afraid, I think, we still see that tendency, that sort of natural instinct to defend, rather than saying, well, what has actually happened here? Let's find the truth.
Thank you.
And on tomorrow's Granada Reports, Theresa May continues with that theme as she criticises Greater Manchester Police for defending its position over the Manchester Arena attack.
Well, next up, young people vaping is never far from the headlines. And now, one North West council has plans to take action to tackle it.
Yes, health officials in Salford want to ban vaping in certain public areas like outside schools and in parks.
Well, our reporter Emma Sweeney is here with us tonight. You've been looking at this for us, Emma. So what's the proposal exactly?
Well, as you say, the proposal is to target areas where children are often present, so school gates, park playgrounds. And what they want to do is to create no smoke zones so that those young people's exposure to cigarettes and vaping is reduced. Now, why do they want to do that? Well, in Salford, over a decade, the number of people smoking has reduced. That said, it is still the area in Greater Manchester with the highest number of adult smokers. And all of that, of course, will have an impact on young people and children and perhaps their inclination to pick up cigarettes and vapes as well. Now, according to the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health, youth vaping is fast becoming an epidemic among children, and that's despite the fact that, of course, they are illegal for under 18s. And we've all seen the packaging, haven't we, around vaping? It's brightly coloured, fruit flavoured and marketed to appeal to those young people, those very people, of course, who should be protected. So something needs to be done, and this is what the council is proposing that they do. Now, today we asked them for a statement and they told us that their position endorses that of the Chief Medical Officer for England, who says if you smoke, then vaping is much safer. If you don't smoke, then don't vape. Marketing vapes to children is utterly unacceptable. Now, earlier today I spoke to one head teacher in Salford. He told us he would endorse this move from the council.
Young people, and young people have always done this, are copying what they see older people do. And of course, when you see older people doing unhealthy things, then you copy that because you're interested in risk-taking, experimenting. That's what teenagers do. So it is difficult to intervene in those sorts of things, but this ban should help to reduce the instance of vaping amongst young people.
So that is the view of the head teacher. I also spoke to some people on the streets of Eccles today. The majority of them also supported this proposal, even if some of them were a little unsure of how successful it might be.
The only problem when you ban it, it makes it worse. It does make it worse because then they'll end up doing it anyway, but in different places.
You don't really see school children teenagers smoking, but you do see them vaping all the time, so hopefully that would be a good move towards stamping that out as well, actually.
They're still going to do it. Like, still going to vape and smoke. It doesn't really matter where it is.
If it's always around schools and the younger ones pick it up, and I don't think it's a good habit to have.
So as we've just heard, there will be many people who will like this idea, but how on earth are you going to police it?
Well, Kamal, the first thing to say is it won't be the police responsible for this. It would be the council's own enforcement officers. But all of that is a long way off yet because it hasn't even got approval from the council. So we will see what happens. I do think it's fair to say, though, this is a council that is trying to take this issue seriously. So we'll see how things unfold as we go forward.
Yeah, we're watching developments. Emma, thanks for that. Well, some breaking news tonight now, and the 10-year-old boy who died after he had an electric shock at a Blackpool hotel has been named. He is Jack Piper Sheech, who's from Wales. He was found unresponsive on Sunday, the 3rd of September, at Tiffany's Hotel. He died with his family at his bedside 4 days later in hospital in Liverpool. His inquest will be opened this Friday.
The police watchdog started an investigation into the way Greater Manchester Police handled complaints from the legal team of a man wrongly jailed for rape. Andrew Markinson spent 17 years in prison and had his conviction overturned in July. The Independent Office for Police Conduct say they found significant issues with how GMP dealt with claims that they destroyed items of clothing stored as evidence and didn't reveal the criminal history of 2 witnesses who gave evidence at Mr. Malkinson's trial.
Yeah, there's some sad showbiz news today. The death has been announced of Jean Boat, who starred, of course, in the Liverpool-based sitcom Bread. She was best known for playing Nellie, better known, of course, as Ma Boswell. Her family revealed that she'd had dementia. She was 91.
One of Britain's biggest and oldest agricultural shows has been taking place in the sunshine near Kendal. For more than 200 years, the Westmoreland Show has been bringing the rural community in from far and wide to celebrate their lifestyle and showcase the best of British farming. The annual 2-day event is expected to attract around 30,000 people. The NFU says it's an opportunity to highlight how important farming is for the UK economy.
Perfect day for it.
Now, when it was built, it was predicted the Trafford Centre would kill off the high streets of neighbouring towns and cities.
Yeah, I remember it well. Well, 25 years on from its official opening, the Trafford Centre itself is now having to adapt to a new world, with online shopping becoming the biggest threat.
Our reporter, Anna Yosef, wants to see how the future's looking for the Northwest's biggest indoor shopping mall.
There's been a lot of talk, you know, how big it is and how many shops there are and how much parking space there is. So I thought I'd just come and have a look.
It's the first big mall around the Manchester area. We've seen many in America and some in England. Let's see where it compares.
When it opened a quarter of a century ago, it was the biggest shopping centre in the UK, promising customers the ultimate retail experience. It took 27 months to build and cost £600 million. On the first day, more than 140,000 people flocked through the doors.
Hiya, how are you doing?
Christine's been here since the beginning. She started as a cleaner and has worked her way up to be a manager.
It was all hands on deck. It was fantastic. I felt really special to work at the Trafford Centre. You know, when you look at all the brass and the glass and all the gold leaf that's on there, I was really pleased to be part of it.
You must know everybody that works here.
Yeah, I do. I call it the Trafford Centre family. I think because you spend more time at work, don't you, than you do at home. And I just think we all pull together as a team.
And this is the world's largest chandelier. It was installed in 2006. It's a truly stunning piece of art and a massive focal point as you come here into the Great Hall.
For centre bosses, it's crystal clear the key to its bright future will be the ability to evolve and offer customers new brands and new experiences.
Retail's changed a lot over the last 25 years, with more of us now shopping online. How are you going to continue to make the Trafford Centre relevant?
I think there's always going to be a balance between online shopping and bricks and mortar shopping. It's not very exciting to sit at home on your computer and do all of your shopping. Being in a centre, touching and feeling those clothes is really important to our customers, and our brand partners have evolved their offering to make sure that it's special and different for them when they come into their stores.
The Trafford Centre covers the same amount of area as 30 football pitches. It attracts 35 million visitors every year. and it employs 10,000 people locally.
And it looks like there could be more jobs on the horizon. M&S is expanding its presence in the centre and opening a new megastore.
So we've been in the Trafford Centre since 2001 and it is such a brilliant community to be part of. The new store is going to be bigger, better, and that means that we can also employ another 150 permanent colleagues into the new store, which we're so pleased to be able to do.
It's easy for parking. Every shop is here that I need, and it's very handy for the weather. You don't have to be out in the cold in the winter. It's very nice.
Got everything here, like the shops and like arcade and food, and it's nice. Yeah.
This is a very useful centre. Lots of people take the day out.
The great range of shops and the free parking makes it a lot more easier to get to than what Manchester Piccadilly does.
And you're never too young to shop for a bargain. Anna Yosef, ITV News, the Trafford Centre.
Yeah, I can't believe Anna didn't have a single bag with her. Well, next up, he is one of the region's, one of the world's biggest sports stars. But Amir Khan admits that fame and fortune haven't always brought happiness.
Yeah, it's one of the most personal interviews today. It's for the former boxing world champion. He's from Bolton. He speaks of a fallout with his family over mishandled finances, of his desire to be a better husband to his wife, Farial, after allegations of infidelity, and his terrifying experience of being robbed at gunpoint.
He's even hinted at a boxing comeback. It's all covered in his new book. But first, he sat down with Chris Hall, who's followed his whole career for a great trip down memory lane.
Amir, let's embarrass you straight away with this.
I was going to say, what a cute picture it is. And look at me holding a doll as well. So
it doesn't maybe go with your hard man boxer image, does it?
It doesn't.
Where would you have been without boxing?
I'd be lost. When I was young, I was very hyperactive. I had a lot of energy. I don't know where I would be, but I know one thing that made me a better person.
In the book, you're very honest.
A bit too honest sometimes.
Yeah.
My wife says that as well. Trust me, she goes, you're a bit too honest sometimes, because there's some things in the book that she's probably ready. She's be like, what?
One of the things that you are honest about in the book is the fight with Terence Crawford. Boxers never want to say that they gave up on a fight, but you admit that you gave up on that one.
I got hit with that low shot. Probably still could have continued, but then I was like, I don't have it in me. That's when I realised the love for the sport had gone. I love boxing to bits, but it was just that the body just couldn't take it anymore.
We've seen you win Olympic silver medal, we've seen you win world titles, we've seen your foundation doing great work for charity. But when I type your name into a search engine, what do you think of the news stories that come up?
Yeah, look, maybe at times not being the best husband, really. Being caught up in different allegations and stuff like that. And I can just say that, it just builds my respect for Farial even more, because she stood beside me.
It seems like the book, after all the allegations of infidelities and everything like that, this is your opportunity to say to her, look, I love you, I'm all about you.
Yeah, and talk about it as well, and what I've done wrong, and why I did things wrong, and I want to be a changed man and stuff like that, So yeah, definitely, I think it's like a love letter to my wife as well.
One of the times she really stood by you was when you found that you had no money left.
You've probably made a lot of money in the career. You're thinking you've got probably maybe 5% of that in your account left. Where's it all gone? I went through probably the hardest time of my life.
You had a mental breakdown, you said.
I literally did. I literally had a mental breakdown, because coming off a loss, then having a hand operation, wanting to leave your wife, then having a family fallout, thinking you've got millions in the bank, but you've got a fraction of that, and don't know if I'm ever going to fight again as well. I went through a big mental breakdown.
But you've also come through death threats from Al-Qaeda. You've looked down the barrel of a gun as somebody stole your watch from you in London.
Very scary. When you're physically in front of someone with a gun, and I remember looking through the barrel of that gun, your whole life goes right past you, and you think about your kids, you think about your wife, your parents, your brothers and sisters, you think about everything.
Because you found out afterwards that it was loaded. How's it affected you in daily life? You're a bit more nervous on the streets now.
You know what? I'm very nervous. I don't like wearing jewellery now, don't wear nothing. Travel with security now. If I have to travel to places, I have a security person with me. One of the scariest things that's ever happened.
What's retirement like for you? Because for a lot of sports people, they find it really difficult. They miss that buzz.
I want to get back into it again. I want to go back to my fitness again.
You're not going to get back in the ring again.
There's talks about me maybe doing an exhibition. I always said, if I ever did step in that boxing ring again, it has to be something big.
Yeah.
And this is a massive one. Just trying to twist my arm and I'm kind of giving in.
Oh, we got a new one.
I know. Oh, you like that jumper? Look at that jumper.
That's wonderful.
I can see like resemblance on my son.
Oh, okay.
And my son's at that age now.
Would you let your son get into boxing?
Honestly speaking, he's born with like strong arms and muscular like structure. And I hold him and I think, wow, this is like he could be a champion. Like my dad threw me in the gym. I might throw him in the gym. So let's relive it all again. But I'll tell you one thing, don't know who give me that haircut. I'm happy with that.
The haircut he's worried about the most. OK, now to the third of our finalists for the Pride of Britain Regional Fundraiser of the Year. Michael Wilson has been the King's Guide to Morecambe Bay since 2019.
Yeah, it's an historic role, and since taking up that job, he has guided tens of thousands of people across those dangerous sands, all for charity.
He's helped raise more than £500,000 just this year alone. Zoe Muldoon went to meet him.
Michael Wilson knows these sands like the back of his hand. He's been a fisherman here all of his life, but in 2017 he took on another role, the King's Guide to Morecambe Bay.
My job is to guide anybody who asks guidance across this wonderful bay out here. We take masses of people across each summer, walk them across the bay.
Michael leads hundreds of people on bay walks from Onside to Grange over Sands. Over the years, the historic treks have become focused on raising money for charity, with each person taking part choosing one to fundraise for.
It's really nice to talk to the people and why they're there, because obviously if it's for the air ambulance, it's someone who's been saved by the air ambulance, or if it's for the British Heart Foundation, it's people who've had heart attacks, and it's great to be part of that and help them raise this money. I think last year we raised about £500,000 and we're on target to beat that this year, so we're doing all right.
The role of the King's Guide was appointed by Henry VIII in 1548. Michael was personally recommended by Cedric Robinson, who did it for over 50 years before retiring. Michael's the 26th King's Guide and gets paid the princely sum of £20 a year.
Back in the 1548, as we've said, the salary was you got a cottage to live in and £15. But when I took the job on, it went up to £20 a year. But sadly, I haven't got the cottage to live in yet because it's a bit derelict. So they are doing it up. So hopefully next year we'll be in the cottage.
It hasn't quite caught up with inflation, has it, your salary?
No, not really. I do it for the enjoyment of the job. It's a great privilege to take so many people across and raise so much money. That's what it's for. All the charities usually contact us now and say how much money they've raised. So yeah, it's just quite humbling really to have all that, information and appreciation of what you've done.
The distance for each walk can vary from 6 miles to over 9, and it can be dangerous. This bay is renowned for its quick sands and fast-flowing tides.
I'm so proud that he's been recognised for what he does. Nobody sees the Michael before the walk, and it is a lot for him to take on. 500 people is a lot. I mean, some people think, oh, it's only a little walk across the bay, but it is a lot of responsibility on his head.
What does it mean to you to be nominated for a Pride of Britain fundraiser award?
It's quite overwhelming. I'm quite humbled by it really. I just think I'm a fisherman, not really some person who does anything really special. It takes a bit for it to sink in what's really happening to me.
What would it mean for you to win this award?
It would be just absolutely fantastic. I can't imagine what it would mean really. I don't know what I feel.
Big party?
Oh yeah, big party, definitely big party.
Going the extra mile for visitors to Morecambe Bay, raising thousands of pounds for charity along the way. Zoe Muldoon, ITV News, Grange over Sands.
Now for the weather forecast. Here's Joe.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. There's been some nice sunshine around today. It was a beautiful start this morning, but more cloud has been building over the last few hours, and we are due a spell of rain tonight, becoming unsettled over the next few days. Bright spells to look forward to, but in general rather cloudy skies to end the week, with spells of rain to come. Today's high pressure being eroded from the west. Low pressure back in the mix from tonight. The next few days will offer up spells of showery rain, breezy conditions at times, and temperatures will be average at best. In the meantime, tonight a rain band will be moving in, first to the Isle of Man and then for the rest of us as we go through the night. 1 or 2 heavy bursts perhaps on that rain band as it begins to sink southwards a little into the early hours of tomorrow morning, but behind it low cloud, mistiness, breezy conditions, and as a consequence quite a mild night. Temperatures last night dipped to around 4 or 5 Celsius rurally, but tonight most places will stay in double figures. On to tomorrow morning. The sun is up tomorrow at 6:42 and it will set at 7:30. For many places, a bit of a dreary, damp start to the day with some rain around initially. It'll brighten up quickest for parts of Cumbria, Lancashire, the Isle of Man. Elsewhere, perhaps south of Manchester, holding on to more cloud all through the day. And we'll begin to see a few isolated showers cropping up anywhere here in the northwest during tomorrow afternoon. If you find some brightness, it won't feel too bad at all. Probably around 18 Celsius tomorrow. And during tomorrow evening, rain will move back up from the Midlands across our part of the world. Friday, a dull end to the working week. There's some brightness this weekend, but it looks unsettled. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Joe, that was such a great interview that Chris did with Amir Khan that you might want to watch more of it. I especially love it when we dig out pictures of people when they're kids. I think we need a few of yours, Gamal.
Maybe one day. He hasn't changed, has he, Amir Khan?
No. Well, maybe a little bit since he was very small.
There's lots more if you want to watch it. It's all on our website, itv.com/Granada.
Yeah, incredible to think we first interviewed him nearly 20 years ago. Good to see him back. Good night.
Bye-bye.